Hi Flosstube, happy Saturday, March 29th. My name is Sherry and I go by Share Bear Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for subscribing. If you are a returning watcher, thanks for watching, consider subscribing. And if you're new here, welcome. Just to introduce myself, I am a stitcher of many decades. I have many pieces that I've stitched, some here on the walls behind me and more throughout the house. I give a lot away, so I don't keep everything, but I enjoy stitching. I enjoy the process. I enjoy when it's done and it's up on the walls. It's a very meditative hobby for me, and let me just say, thank God we have it right now. So with that said, I know it's been a couple of months since my last Flosstube, probably maybe February. It's just work is very busy for me and weekends tend to go from one day to the next, and I have a lot of family obligations that I need to get through in the weekend. So all of that said, I didn't think I did a lot, but actually I have done some stitching. I have accumulated some stash as well, with more coming in the mail actually, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So I need to slow down on that a little bit. But aside from all of that, and I am stitching a model. So what I will show today is not the model because the designer hasn't said whether or not I could share it. And I probably won't. I'm trying to finish it and just send it back to her. But for those of you that like samplers, you're gonna like it. And that's all I'll say on that. But I did get some stitching in on my own personal things. So I'm gonna probably just talk to you a little bit about what I've got going on and what I'm stitching on for myself. And then I'll share some of my stash and talk to you about some plans coming for the next couple of months. So with all of that said, where should we start? Oh, and stick around because I reached 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all. I have a giveaway and I'll share that at the end. So with that said, let's get started with some of the stitching that I've done over the past couple of months. And you know, I'm looking at these pictures behind me on the wall, and I swear my husband knocked that one right there, but I'll have him fix it. He hung these two pieces here, and I'm sorry you can't see them. That is Every Opening Flower by Brenda Gervais. And let's see if I can, there you go. I changed the silks up on that. Oh, I used silks and I made them, not all silks, but some. And I richened up the colors because I just like brighter colors. And that right there up at the top corner, hopefully you can see it, is Summer Quaker from Lila Studio. I love that piece. I love the way it came out. I love it. And so I'll show you that my friend Kenny from Kenny Stitches and I went ahead and got the winter Peace on Earth Winter Quaker from Lila Studio. Kenny's already picked fabric and did a floss toss. I am waiting for 4 pieces from Steph's Fabrics, hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie. I ordered 4 pieces from her. I really want to stitch it on 40 count, and since I did that one on a 40 count from Under the Sea Fabrics called Beach Walk, I used opalescent linen. I want to do the winter one as well. So I chose a bluish, everything is pale, like a bluish fabric, maybe bluish gray. I chose, well, I can't even remember what I chose. I chose winter, at least what looked to me like winter. I will tell you, I really thought about putting this on red. And I do have some red sparkle fabric, but not 40 count, and I need 40 count because I want them to all be the same size, at least similar sizes when I stitch them all. Hopefully you can see that. This is such a cool piece. I love the polar bears. So while the polar bears would show up on red fabric awesome. I think everything would, with the exception of the red in the chart itself. So I probably am not going to use a red, but you never know. I might have purchased a pinky red that might look good. I don't know. I'm going to floss toss when I get it. I'm not going to change the colors of this. I'm not going to use silks, but I'm definitely going to floss toss as soon as the fabrics come and pick something and get this one started, because as you can see from the space on the wall back here, this is my dining room. This whole wall back here, I really would like to put stitching on. Well, not the whole wall, probably halfway up, because we have little grandkids that show up here every now and again, and hands on the stitching is a big no-no for me. So with that said, yes, I ordered this, very excited, love it, it's beautiful. Thank you, Leela, we've been waiting. So I guess what I will do is go through my haul first, and then I'll go through my works in progress. So I was really, 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 really good during market this year. Let me turn this back a little bit. I only bought a couple of things. I didn't go overboard because I'm really in the mindset of, am I going to stitch this ever? And if I'm not going to stitch it, why do I still have it? So I'm thinking about having a stash sale, and it probably won't be for a couple of months, and it may even be over summer. But I think I'm going to go through my stash. Well, actually, let me change that. I said last month that I did tell my boss I'm going to retire on 12/31. So I've been making mental lists of this year, by the way. So I've been making mental lists of things I want to do as soon as I retire, because I just don't have time now. Work is very, very busy, and I need to give that 100% of my focus. But I do think about things, and as I think through these things off and on, I'm thinking that I would like to go through the charts that I have. When I buy charts, I usually think, oh, well, I have one that maybe even I've kitted already that I probably won't stitch. So say like Leela's Studios piece will replace one that I have upstairs, maybe kitted already. And so as I think about these things and look at these pieces that I have curated over the past 15 years, maybe, I may start changing my mind on some stuff and getting rid of some stuff. So with all of that said, I plan on maybe this time next year having a stash sale. So I will sell charts and I will sell some fabric, because I have lots of fabric that I have purchased through various phases of, oh, I like that design, so I'm going to buy that fabric. But if I don't see myself using it or stitching the piece I had in mind when I bought that piece of fabric, I might let it go. I have a lot of fabric, but I don't have 5,000 pieces. I probably have 350 pieces of fabric, if I guessed. So, and then I'm gonna add all this that I have in front of me to that. But all of that said, if I decide to do it this year, if there's time, I will definitely share it. I will share it on Instagram and here on Flosstube. And I, in my mind, have thought about, what's the best way to get some of these things moving. So, for example, if I paid $40 for a piece of fabric, I'm only going to charge $20, something like that. I would much rather move it and get it out of my house and out of my stash and into someone's hands who would love it, rather than just keep it here getting no stitch time. So anyway, moving on. So with all of that said, my market purchases were very, very, very small and compact. Just three things this year. Aside from the Leela Studio chart, which technically was not a market purchase. I fell in love with this. Heartstring sampler. I love Beth. Beth is a friend. This is beautiful. I stitched the piece where you could choose your own adventure in the middle, and it looked similar to this, and it was also by Beth, Heartstring Samplery. And I chose, and I'll show you a picture of it. I have it here in my iPad, and I will show you a picture. But I stitched it and gave it to my cousin for her, I think her birthday a few years ago. Let's see. Sorry for the quiet airtime, but it is in my stitching folder. Yes. So I stitched that, and I changed all of the colors. I had it framed by Jill Rensel. I used all silk, and this was a gift for my cousin. So you can see why the Ode to the Libraries that Beth recently sold at Market just really appealed to me. I love this. It's just so pretty, and that was such a fun stitch. So I'm definitely going to kit this up. When am I going to stitch it? I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to kit it up, and potentially in the next month. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. So this was my first selection. And then I know that Beth, she originally designed this and released it in June, and I think it was an exclusive to a retreat that she did. I think it was Hobby House. Don't quote me on that. But I love it. Beth is she's just so whimsical, and she puts whimsical design into samplers. I just think it's cool. I like outside of the box thinking. That is cool. So kudos to my friend Beth. This is great. If you were thinking about getting it, you should. She's great. And I ordered, well, maybe I ordered 4 pieces. No, I ordered 2 from Market, and then I think these were Market releases, but they're from Stephanie. I ordered this year from Lindy Stitches, and these were on Steph's website. So this color, I don't have a lot of peach fabric, so I ordered this Peach of My Heart in 40 count linen. It's not opalescent, it's plain. I don't think Steph sells opalescent, but I'm gonna bug her about it because I think she should. I'm sorry, let me open it this way. It's really pretty. And I even thought for a hot minute that this would look really good on there, but those peach flowers, I would of course have to change the colors, but that's what I do. So I like that. So I purchased that from her. And then I was watching one of her aftermarket videos just recently where she said, oh, I don't know why these didn't end up on or in the inventory, but I do have these 40 count lap and loops curtain call from Newcastle, or on Newcastle linen. Look at that red. It's so cool. And I do have a few pieces of red. And this one is in 40 count. I do have a couple of pieces that I purchased from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Steph, or Stephanie's Fabrics. And I think I have a red from Picture This Plus Old. I ordered 2 of these, by the way, the 2 40 counts that I think she had. She might have more, but it really is a beautiful color and it feels great. But I don't have a lot of red, and I like to have a variety of color families because, as you all probably can guess, sometimes you need, an array of colors to choose from, highs and lows, and especially when you have a lot of colors of floss going in on a piece. So with all that said, I ordered some more red. I do belong to Fiberlicious Fabric of the Month Club. And the last month, I might have already shown this, was Rose Arbor. Let's see, does it say? This was February's. And yeah, fitting for February, right? Look at that. It's a sparkle fabric. Hopefully you can see that sparkle coming through. I think the color is showing pretty well today because of the overcast outside. This is 32 count opalescent linen. Let me take a sip of water. And then I just got this one. This is March's fabric of the month. It's called Amethyst Whispers. And I do 32 count opalescent, specifically for mirrors. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh yeah, and that's really registering true. Look at the sparkle. Like, just, I can think of so many mirrors, and it's lightly, very lightly modeled. I can think of so many mirrors I could use this for. So pretty color. So I think you've all heard me talk about my local needlework shop. I live in Colorado, as I said, so I am very fortunate to have two very good shops. One is about an hour and 20 minutes away, which is Colorado Cross Stitcher, and I'm sure you all know Sherry and watch her videos. Wonderful store, just wonderful store. If you ever make it to Northern Colorado, you definitely need to get in there. And then my local needlework shop is called A Stitching Shop. And Christine has a humongous, ginormous shop. It's huge. And her inventory, honestly, I've been to quite a few shops around the country, and some have large amounts of inventory. Christine's inventory is something to beat, let me tell you. So I often go sit in her shop, and because I convert a lot of things to silk, I will pull my DMC, go to the shop, sit on the floor, and just start pulling silks that match or are in the same color family, because she has so many complete lines of different types of silks. You absolutely cannot miss her shop if you come to the Denver area for a vacation or are going to the mountains and fly into DIA, Denver International. You definitely need to make a trip to the shop, and it is on the way to the mountains, just saying. So with that said, I was in the shop a couple weeks ago. I went for one thing and I ended up leaving with a few things. So I bought fabric this time, and honestly, very different from what I just showed you. I bought 4 pieces that I think all 4 are needle and flax. I have been trying to accumulate my quieter colors, I will say. Those colors that can be used on pieces like these, where you really want the design to stick out and maybe you want the fabric to be complementary but quieter. So I purchased Needle and Flax Pemberley in 40 count. I really like this color. It's, let's see, there, that's a really good representation of it. It's got some yellow cream, like, it's gonna sound so weird, like kind of like light butter that you've left out for too long. It's really pretty. So it's like yellowy with a cream base. So that's one piece. And then I purchased another shade of yellow. This one is, oh, this is Fiber on a Whim Yellow Diamond. And this is also 40 count fat quarter. Look at that. Okay, this one isn't showing really well. Well, maybe it will now because the sun's coming out again. I think you can see it back here. It's really like buttercup yellow. It's so pretty. And it's maybe lightly modeled some. Very, very, very light, but wow, so pretty. And I really do not have many colors like this. So I thought, I love the way floss, especially silk, when it's tossed on this type of a color, it just glows. The silk glows, the fabric almost pushes the color from behind and makes it just glow. And this piece is Needle and Flax, and it's Dirty Teacup, and well, I have Dirty Teacup, but I saw this piece that she had in the shop and said, oh yes, that's gonna be mine. So look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. And you know, this is a good standby, definitely, for pieces like these. I like samplers. I'm getting to a place where I like them. Not all are my style, but boy, I can appreciate the work for sure. And if I'm gonna do one, I want to I don't know, I want to take advantage of the background color and make it a little different, more like me. I'm definitely not a subdued personality or quiet personality, but I don't know, it just says Sherry when I change things, like I've done here, like that piece there says me. So, okay, and then Needle and Flax Thornfield. I did not have this color. This is really nice. Look at that modeling. Oh, that's a good representation. It is a nice color. This can be used for a number of pieces, right? Just all different kinds of pieces. So for sure, this will get used. I just don't know when. So those were the 4 pieces I bought. And, oh, I dropped the card. Hang on a second. Again, the name of my shop that is local is A Stitching Shop. You can call. She does mail order. She's wonderful. Okay, so I belong to the Sampler Guild of the Rockies. Registration, they only have openings for joining once a year. I'm thinking it's in the next couple of months. I think we have over 250 members across the country because my friend Danielle is the president, and the way that she has set it up is so that anyone can join from anywhere. They have Zoom in when we have meetings. We have seminars. We have teachers come from all over. A little birdie told me that they're going to be doing something in the early spring of 2026 that's going to knock your socks off. But all the designers that you know and love that do samplers have worked with Danielle, worked with Sampler Guild of the Rockies, done special exclusives. It's just an amazing group. A couple of weeks ago, and I don't always make it to the meetings because I'm maybe not here, traveling for work, whatever, but I do try to go. And as I said, Danielle is a very good friend of mine. We have been friends for decades. So I went a couple of weeks ago because they had a stash sale. And so every year they get stash either donated or someone passes away and it's donated that way. And then they do a stash sale. And so I went. I don't think I walked away with anything. It was like an auction. But Danielle, I had loaned a chart to her, and I actually gave her 12, I think it's 12. Whatever came in the first red box that Nicola sold, I looked through those charts. Like I said, sometimes I buy things and I realize I'm just not going to stitch any of these. So it was for her 60th birthday, Nicola, and the first red box. So I just texted Danielle one day and said, hey, do you want them? And she said, oh my gosh, yes. So I took those to her. Honestly, not expecting anything, but Danielle's very generous. And she said, here, I have something for you. And oh my goodness, look at what she gave me, because she knows me. She gave me 3 half yards of Fiberlicious. Like, oh my gosh. And I didn't even realize they were half yards till I got home. So this one is called Magic Potion. And you can see the colors in that. I haven't opened it because I might want to stitch on it now. But wow, that's so cool. Okay, that's the first one. And then Dreams in Opalescent 32 count half yard. Look at that. Now tell me it is not screaming Mirabilia to somebody, because look at these colors in this piece. My goodness. So I probably am going to cut each one of them in half if I'm only going to stitch a mirror that will fit on a fat half. And then this one called Once in a Blue Moon, also 32 count opalescent linen half yard. And look at that sparkle. Oh, and I love sparkle when it's the blue based and not so much the gold based, but wow, that's so pretty. Just so pretty. So Danielle, if you're watching, I love you. Thank you. This was so nice. You did not have to do that. Okay, so my quest to not keep you too late is working out in my favor. So now I'm going to talk to you about the WIPs that I have worked on. Just keep in mind, I haven't done a lot because I've been working on the model for the designer. And I am one of those people. She said, you know, there's no timeline on it. You don't have to worry about rushing. That's not me. If I do a model for you, I'm going to work on it until it's done and send it back to you, because this is your business. So I am more than halfway finished with the model. It is big. It is big, just big. And I'm stitching it on 40 count. So I'm working on that primarily, but sometimes I take a break and I'll stitch a couple of, 100 stitches into something I'm working on for me. So with that said, let me pull out first this piece that is never ending for me. It is the Winter Rose Manor, I think. And I'll show the picture by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. Yes, it is Winter Rose Manor. I know it's an older piece. Lots of people have done this, but like I said, I change stuff. I like things changed. So I ordered the Vicki Clayton silks to use with this piece. And for the most part, the silks are working out well on this piece. However, the fabric I'm choosing is not one that you would probably consider using for this. So if you haven't, I'm sorry, it's wrinkled because it's in my bag. But so I am stitching this on 36 count Twixt and Tween from Fabrics by Stephanie, because sometimes winter is this color to me. And the color that came with the Vicki Clayton silks for the pink house, it didn't work out for me at all. So I had to change it. And I pulled a silk from, I'll pull it out of my bag. It is, I think it's called Cherub Cheeks from Silken Colors. It's so pretty. So let me hold this up again and show you what it looks like. Hopefully it's not glaring so much. I did put in the longer stitches there. You can see them to show some delineation between the house side and the front. And I worked on the robins. I'm sorry, cardinals. God, my husband would kill me. And if you know my husband, he would kill me for that. So yes, I worked on the cardinals and I started working on the flowers and fence below. I'll finish this year. I know I will, and get this off of my old WIP list. But I just don't, I take it with me when I travel. So we're going to visit my father-in-law this week, and I'm going to take this with me. It's an easy travel piece. The next thing I worked on is Sun Goddess from Mirabilia. So what I'd like to show you here is take a look at this spot right here, because I've changed it. To me, that's a fold that goes into whatever that motif is on the dress, right? So it should be a fold. And so I extended that fold in her skirt all the way up. That I'll show you in a minute. I think it's going to work out well. But I love Sun Goddess. She is the sister piece to Gypsy Queen. That was, I think, I'm not sure if it came out before or after, but once I did it, I said, once I did Gypsy Queen, which I'm sure if you've watched my Flosstube before, you've seen my Gypsy Queen done, but if not, I'll show it to you right here. She's on my wall. And I converted all of those colors into Rainbow Gallery Silk Splendor. So, like I said, I took the DMC and I went to the shop and I just sat down and I said, yeah, that works, this works, and wrote it down and used those. And she's vibrant and beautiful. And my husband says, for whatever reason, which I probably know. She's me when he sees her on the wall. He said, that one reminds me of you. And you can see she is the sister. I just think they're great, and they're going to be great together. So I had a fat half of the fabric that I am stitching her on, and it is, let me pull out the card really quickly. It is 32 count Changeling from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. So I'll show you how far I am. Let me take it off the Q-snap. And you can see what she looks like so far. And you can see that spot. Oh, let me stand up. Okay, so you can see I've got the top part of the bodice done. I'm gonna stitch her skin over one, so that's probably gonna go in much later. And there's the top of the throne chair, whatever it is she's sitting on. And then you can see how I extended that fold. And I just think that it looks much better once I add in all of the rest, because, let me drop this down here. Down below here, it's still shaded. I just think it's gonna look good coming up all the way around. And I like working on these. I know a lot of people are afraid to stitch a mirror or think, it's so much work. It's not. It's a lot of, you know, block stitching, bulk stitching. I just think the end result is just something that's so beautiful and just cannot be compared to anything else. So, and they just give me a lot of joy to stitch them. So that was one piece I did put in some stitches on. And then I also put in some stitches on Blackbird, which was released in 2023. I am stitching her with a few friends, Emily C., Eclectic Possessions, and Lady Lugana, Sarah, Lady Lugana here on Flosstube. And I think my friend Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, is also working on her, or probably way farther than I am. And I'm stitching it on 28 count Crystal Conifer from Picture This Plus, because I love the sparkle. It's sparkle, and I converted her to all silks. So I want to show you the difference in the color choices between what she looks like here and then what she looks like here. So if you take a look at her dress, the bodice part, it's, I don't know, like a more of a gray-based, I think it's more gray-based. Yeah, more of a gray-based tan, whereas mine is more of a yellow-based tan. And I just think it pops on this fabric, or maybe a cream-colored base tan. And it just really pops around the flowers too. And it goes well with the browns, and I don't know, I just like it. I think it looks really good, and it's gonna look really good when it's done. She too will get skin over one. So I worked on her for a little bit as well. And I'll tell you a little bit about my process of stitching just in a rotation in a second. And then finally, the last piece I worked on is something I started recently with my friend Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, and Karen of Fox and Rabbit. The three of us have a little small group going, and we're all working on Plum Street Samplers Salem Sampler. You know, I love Plum Street. I have a number of Plum Street charts. Not many done, actually. This and that is Plum Street, the one up there, always remember. That was my first Plum Street to stitch. And it wasn't because I liked it better than everything else. It was first out of the pile that I kitted, so I just did that one. And you see I did it on a blue fabric. I thought it looked cool, so that's what I used. But this sampler, the Salem sampler, I just love it. I loved, when I say this, you're gonna laugh. I loved all the colors, so I pulled them all, and then I changed some of them. But here's where I am so far. And it's on a May Fabric of the Month from 2024, 40 count opal linen from Dying for Cross Stitch. I gotta tell you guys, whoever got this in May, you are so lucky. I bought 2 pieces. I love it. And I don't know if it's part of their regular line. It doesn't have a name. It's just a Fabric of the Month from 2024. Wow, it's cool. And I bought sparkle. So you can see there's little sparkle in it. But look at that. Isn't it the coolest? And man, people are so right. There's a lot of stitching in a Plum Street sampler chart. A lot. But look at the color saturation. It is just, looks great. I love it. And I was working on it this morning for a little bit while I was attending the Lindy Stitches Start-a-thon. So hopefully you have all joined that. And if you didn't, join her next one. So that's the last thing I worked on. Since I've been mostly working on the piece for the design or the model. You know, I have about 15 WIPs at any one time. So I decided that for a quarter, so January, February, March, I would hit what I have here, I had 4 pieces because I'll show you what else I did pull. I didn't touch this for this quarter, so it's gonna stay in my basket and go to the next quarter. But I have a basket here, and this is Christmas Flourishes. And I'm sorry I don't have the picture because I bought this chart when it came out and God knows where the picture ended up, but it's Mirabilia. And maybe I can pull it up really quickly and show you for those of you that haven't seen it. It's a beautiful picture, a beautiful design by Nora. F-L-O-U-R. Christmas Flourishes, if I could spell, it would be great. Words. Okay. All right, so check that out on Red. And that's what inspired me so I started this when it came out and I had all of this done. And no skin over one at that time because I started it when it came out and it came out decades ago. And I was not stitching skin over one then. 1996, that's when I started it. And I wasn't a new stitcher. By that point, I was stitching models for the shop that was local, that is gone now, but it was called the Counting Bee. And I had started it on the called for fabric and had half her body done. And then Picture This Plus started dyeing fabric. And I said, oh, I like this better. And so I put it aside and just never did anything on it again. And then I saw that red and I said, oh yeah. I like it on red. So I talked to Stephanie from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie and said, hey sister, can you make me a red that would be really cool and have the gold sparkle, right? Which I just said I don't like so much, but I think for this one, it needed to be. Oops, let me get a sip of water. It needed to be on here. So as I sit and play with this piece of fabric to show you, I did restart it on this piece of fabric. Sorry. Okay. So you can see how far I am and I'm at the very top. Look at how everything pops on this fabric. It's beautiful. So this is going to get some love now. Well, in the next for 3 months. Sorry, I'm trying to see. I think it's called Versailles Red. I'm not going to look. I know it's called Versailles Red, and it's from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And it is part of her regular inventory, so you can call in. She would custom or dye this for you. But just look at it. Oh, so pretty. It's upside down. That's really good, Sherry. It's just so pretty. So pretty. And such a fun stitch. And yes, this is a lot darker. I just love it. It's so pretty. Oh, whoever stitched this, you did a fantastic job. Just beautiful. What does it look like, you might wonder, on the actual, let's see if I can get it really quickly. On the original called for fabric, it looks like that. It's still beautiful. It made me buy it when it came out. I mean, I bought it as soon as our shop got it because we didn't have anything like that back then. But I hate Kreinik. I hate stitching with Kreinik. I don't like that it frays. And so a few years ago, I got rid of all my Kreinik. I sent it to Mama Bear Stitchery Debbie. I just said, here, Deb, have it all. I don't want it. And I just replaced everything with number 4 braid from Rainbow Gallery, which works really nicely. So all of that's in here in my bag to be stitched. It's going to be that braid. But I think that's probably why I put it aside. I just didn't like the way the Kreinik looked on the fabric. Anyway, so she's staying out for the next 3 months. And these 2 pieces I just shared with you are going to get put away. The sampler will be finished, I hope, in April, and I can send that back to the designer. And so when that happens, I will move from my 15 box of WIPS. I'll move something over, probably 3 pieces, into my, I have this little basket I'll show you. I keep next to my stitching chair, and they just all sit in here on Q-snaps with the bag, with my project bag, ready to be pulled out and at any given moment. So I'm not one that says, I'm going to stitch 10 hours on this and 10 hours on that. I stitch until I start going, I'm getting tired of this and I need to move on to something else. But having them all right next to me allows me to just sit up, look in my basket and go, okay, I'm going to pull that one out tonight. So they each get whatever amount of love that they're going to get. So with that said, that's how I work on stash or WIPS. And so I'll do that every quarter, just rotate things. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep Winter Rose Manor in the rotation because I don't want it all to be Mirabilias. I have a number of Mirabilias in my WIP pile, but I do have a couple of samplers, and I do have, oh, you know which one I'm going to pull in? The Halloween at Hockran Hollow. I don't know why lately I've been thinking about that piece, and I have 3 of the middle band all done. And I've moved up, I think, to 1. So I think I'm gonna rotate that one in to the WIP pile and rotate out one of the mermaids. I'm sorry, one of the Mirabilias. And who knows, I may even rotate out the sampler that I'm working on right now, the Salem sampler, and maybe only have like 1 Halloween, 1 Christmas piece, the Winter Rose Manor, and 1 more, maybe a sampler. Okay, that's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that. So last thing before I let you all go and enjoy the rest of your weekend. This is a small thing for me, this Flosstube. I don't really have any desire to be some Flosstube queen who does this stuff every other week, or I just don't feel like I have that much to say. And frankly, I don't want to bore people. So I like to keep it fresh because there's so much life in between these things, and I have so much to do. And for me, mostly this is just to share the love of stitching that I have, and hopefully you find some enjoyment out of it. So when YouTube said, hey, you have 1,000 subscribers, I said, wow, really? That's so surprising. And I had happened to talk to my husband about this and said, if I ever get to 1,000, I'm gonna buy a chart and kit it up and maybe buy a project bag and put it all in there and give it away. So thank you for the subscribers that I do have. I was in the Colorado Cross Stitcher shop when on the way there, YouTube sent me that message. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it today. So I bought this designed by Brenda Gervais, Quaker needlework or Quaker handwork. It's so pretty. It's just a really pretty chart. And I think I own this one already, but I just saw it and said, yep, I'm going to do this because it's pretty. It's doable. It won't sit in someone's WIP pile for 800 years like some of our things do. And so I went a little crazy with pulling colors, and so they may not all be the colors, but it's definitely some of the colors, but much more than you're going to need. So let me just pull this out and show you what I did to give someone the idea to be really adventurous and maybe change colors or throw in something all your own. I decided to go with this 36 count fat quarter. Who is this from? FF. So you probably know who and you're probably screaming at me, this is the linen designer. I'm sorry, Sherry doesn't put the name on there. But this is the color. It's pretty basic, I would say, or it will highlight this design, right? And then these are the colors I chose. So let me bring these up here and show you. Now, like I said, I pulled a bunch of different colors, and I'm gonna stand up so I can hold it up. I pulled a bunch of different colors, and some go, but they don't all go, but I thought that was really pretty. So it's choose your own adventure. There you go. Choose your own adventure with all of that. And that goes like this. Look at that. It's so pretty. So I hope you like it. And it's all gonna go in ragtag quilt art. I ordered a bag from Etsy with Teresa Kogut fabric, because I mean, who doesn't love Teresa? She's great. So this is all going to be in this bag, and I will send it to someone. I'll just use a random selector. If you comment down below with the word spring, please don't say sweepstakes or giveaway, because then we'll get crazy people on my Flosstube and I will not be responsible for the swearing I might do. So use the word spring somehow. Tell me how much you love spring and spring stitching. And before my next Flosstube, I'll do the random number or name generator or whatever generator and pick somebody to win this, and then I will send it to you. And it doesn't matter where you are. I don't care. If you're not in the country, I'll send it to you overseas. I'm just so grateful that I have 1,000 subscribers. Who knew this little thing? I'm happy to reach everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving kind comments. You know, you can yell at me. I don't care. I might call you out here, but thank you for being a community that is so welcoming and has open arms for everyone. If I'm pretty much, I don't say a lot to people outside. People talk to me. My husband says like I'm a magnet, but I don't actively seek out people unless I see a stitcher somewhere, and then I will just go plop my behind in the chair next to them and say, show me what you're working on, and let me tell you about what I stitch. So thanks again. I really appreciate you watching. Have a great month of April. Happy Easter if you celebrate. Yeah, life is unpredictable and hard sometimes. And right now in this country, we are all over the place. But remember, be kind to each other. You only get this walk once, if you're lucky. And probably, you know, do it at your best. And that's all I'll say. Be well. See you soon. Bye-bye.